Good day everyone, this is Group 3 speaking and we will be talking about maritime diplomacy of small archipelagic states. Group 3 consists of me, Aufa, Bagas, Purple, Hisham, Rizal, and Novita. During the course of the video, Bagas, Purple, and Novita will be explaining about the maritime diplomacy of Fiji.
According to United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, the word archipelago means a group of islands, including parts of islands, interconnecting water, and other natural features which are closely interrelated. And an archipelagic state is the state consisted wholly by one or more archipelagos and may include other islands. Fiji and Tonga are fairly good examples. There are two archipelagic states located near the equator in the heart of the Pacific Ocean. They are so small that they are barely invisible in a map of the world. Fiji covers an area of 18,333 square kilometers and consists of 332 islands. Tonga, on the other hand, covers only 747 square kilometers and is made up of 173 islands, only 36 of which are inhabited. The two countries are neighbors. Fiji is northwest of Tonga. Minerva reefs are two marine reefs located in Tongatepu Island, Tonga, which are about 500 kilometers southwest from the southeast of Tonga, about 300 kilometers from southern island of Fiji. They are originally a British territory, then officially became part of Tonga in September 1972. Fiji in 2005 suddenly claimed its ownership to Minerva Reefs to International Seabed Authority (ISA), and Tonga rejected them, but the dispute ended without any results. The differences between the two countries due to Fiji Navy destroyed Minerva Reefs navigation lights reached a record high in 2010. Tonga then filed a claim for compensation. Then in late May 2011, they again destroyed the navigational equipment installed by Tongans. In early June 2011, two Royal Tongan Navy ships were sent to the reef to replace the equipment and to reassert Tongans' claim to the territory. Fijian Navy ship in the vicinity reported withdrew as the Tongans approached. In an effort to settle the dispute, the government of Tonga reviewed a proposal in early July 2014 to give the Minerva Reefs to Fiji to exchange for Lao group of islands. In a statement to Tonga Daily News, Lands Minister announced that he would make the proposal to Fiji's Minister for Foreign Affairs. Some Tongans have Laoan ancestors, and many Laoans have Tongan ancestors. Tonga's land minister is named after the Tongan prince who originally claimed part of Lao for Tonga. The dispute between the two countries continues to this day.
In general, diplomacy is management in relations between countries carried out by a country to achieve national interest as an implementation of its foreign policy. The concept of diplomacy then experienced expansion, both in terms of issues and actors, which in turn gave birth to various forms and types of diplomacy, one of which was maritime diplomacy. In simple terms, maritime diplomacy is the management of relationship between countries in the maritime scope. Furthermore, maritime diplomacy does not only mean the use of diplomacy to manage conflict and tension between countries related to maritime issues, but rather through the preparation of international legal instruments. More than that, maritime diplomacy is also the use of assets or resources in the maritime domain to regulate relationship between countries. If, in general, diplomacy involves diplomat as state representation, maritime diplomacy does not only involve policymakers or state actors. Maritime diplomacy involves analysts and academics to study trends and development in international relations and global security. There are several types that can be discussed as a form of implementation of maritime diplomacy. However, in this discussion, we will only focus on coercive diplomacy.
I will explain about the relation between the coercive diplomacy and Minerva Reef. That The coercive diplomacy is the diplomacy used in Navy SEAL, or can be more clearly described as the political diplomatic strategy that aims to influence an adversary will or the incentive structure. And as my friends told before, that Fiji's Navy SEALs destroy the navigation rule made by Tongan, and then it is a strategy that combines threats of force and, if it's necessary, the limited and selective use of force in discrete and the control the increment at the beginning strategy that includes the positive inducements. They aim to induce the adversary to comply with the one demands or to negotiate the most favorable compromise possible while simultaneously managing the crisis to prevent the unwanted military. And as the strategy, in the effort to settle the dispute, the government Tonga refused a proposal give the Minerva reef to the Fiji.
Okay, now let's move on to the theory. The IR theory that we will be using to explain this case is the neorealism theory. In his book titled Theory of International Politics, Kenneth Waltz proposed three basic core propositions that the neorealism theory is based on, which are listed in this slide right here. First is international system, which is characterized by anarchy. Second one is the system consisting of sovereign units, and the third one is distribution of capabilities driving a state's national interest. So now we can see how these three basic propositions of neorealism can relate to the case of Fiji and Tonga, because in the case of the dispute of Minerva Reef between Fiji and Tonga, we can see how a lack of central authority causes Fiji to claim ownership of the Minerva Reef, which is basically aggression against Tonga's sovereignty and national interest to protect their territory. And yeah, so therefore Fiji and Tonga poses as a threat to each other. And also we can see how Fiji and Tonga has similar capabilities, and which also caused this dispute of the Minerva Reef, because in this case the type of capability that is driving the dispute is geographical proximity. Both countries are close geographically, and they also share historical motives that drives their interest for Minerva Reef. So it also causes the dispute between those two countries for the Minerva Reef. So to conclude what we discussed in this part, the theory part, we can say that for this case, the sovereign units or states are Fiji and Tonga, and they act upon an anarchical international structure, which causes Fiji to claim ownership over the Minerva Reefs because of historical motives. And what drives these two states' national interest is their respective capabilities. Alright, now let's move on to the conclusion. To conclude this presentation, it is safe to say that maritime diplomacy was used between two small archipelagic states of Fiji and Tonga, in the form of coercive diplomacy to address the dispute between both countries over the Minerva Reef, which escalated in 2011. This proves that maritime diplomacy has a significance even among small archipelagic states. And that is all from us. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day. And is there any questions?